Jeez.
It's all
Yo.
good. Thank you so much, like I said, for joining me for episode 175 of History Lessons. Been following you for a minute, so it's an opportunity to let the people know who Jay Scienide is, where he comes from. So we're going to take it back. You've got a new project out, the Periodic Tables of Excellence we're going to get into. But before we do all that, let us know where Jay Cyanide's
Jay
from.
Sinai is originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. No, yeah,
Did not
little
know
known
that.
fact. Yeah, shout out to Charlotte. Shout out to the Greer Heights community, Greer Town, East Mac, you know what I'm saying? East Mac, East Charlotte. You know, shout out all the people over there. Yeah, that's my humble beginnings, man.
What ages would you say Charlotte was for you? Teenage years,
Teenage 20,
adult? Okay, so give us a
teenage 20s,
timeline
yeah. Hmm.
up to 20. Okay, well, take us back to teenage years growing up in
There's
Charlotte.
a lot of music. It was a lot of East Coast, like a lot of East Coast influence. West Coast, a lot of music in the South, but like most of them us and the people that I hung out with, everybody like, when you move from New York, you move to North Carolina or you move to Florida. So everybody from New York was there. So it was like a lot of East Coast music, a lot of the DJs there, like from the East Coast. So it's like we heard everything that everybody was listening to pretty much in New York. Like we was getting like the tapes and everything like that. Um, it was like, yeah, it's like everybody I went to school with was from New York. Like I had went, I would always visit, go different trips and stuff like that, and go back and forth to the city. Got a lot of family there, so it was basically like a little like a little melting pot. Like in the city, we had our own little melting pot, our own little area. You know what I'm saying?
Right. A lot of legends in the building. Broadway,
Oh,
Boss
nice,
Scratch,
nice,
Scheme
nice,
Richards.
yo.
Appreciate you guys joining.
Peace, peace, peace. Good morning, people. Top of the morning.
No doubt. Before getting into, let's say, hip hop, let's say all genres of music, what were some of your
It was
early
my
musical
pops.
influences?
Everything my pops was playing. Like my dad had a crazy record collection, but he played everything. So you heard like Earth, Wind and Fire. I heard like Duran Duran, and I heard the Police, and I would hear like I said, like Weather Report. Um, what's another Sade, all kind of stuff, and like all this music I still listen to today. So it was just a wide range. And back then, black radio played like pretty much everything. So you could probably hear like Midnight Star. Then you can hear like NXS. You can hear all kind of stuff like that. So that's what pretty much brought my horizon. Oh yeah, Steely Dan, shit like that. I would hear all this stuff all the time, man, all the time.
Right. And Charlotte, what was the scene like? What was you seeing as far as hip hop for the first time before actually getting into it? What was the scene like in Charlotte?
It was pretty. I mean, it was pretty dope. Like the first thing I really saw, like I went to a block party, seen a DJ, doing this thing. Of course, the DJ is from New York, so I'm like, yo, you see the DJ spinning. So I got like trance, like, oh man, like what is he doing? But like before I left, what I'm saying, like the scene it's pretty dope. There's a lot of open mics, a lot of people making beats. I was making beats, a lot of cats were making beats. I had started a crew with my family, for my family. Like I had a lot of family like from New York, so we started a crew. Um it was like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of records being bought, a lot of people coming through. Like, as you know, North Carolina, there was a lot of records down there. A lot of people buying records. Shout out to my brother Gene Brown. Like Gene was buying records. We was getting records from Gene and all kind of stuff back all the way back then. So the scene was bustling, man. Like I said, it was like a lot of people from different areas there, and it was bringing that sound like to the city.
Right. Give us a timeline of age. Were you into producing first or being MC as far as your
Rhyming.
first
I
foray
was
into hip
definitely in a
hop?
rhyming first. Like I remember I wrote my first rhyme in like I don't know, like in the eighth and ninth grade or some shit. And it was like a Black History rap. It was me and three other dudes, and we only brothers in the class. So I mean, it was us and like some bad chicks in that class too, boy. And it was like, it was like us. So the teacher was like, little white lady, she was like, yo, can y'all write a rap? So you wrote like this Black History rap. I think I wrote about Harriet Tubman, and they liked it so much. I think we went to like the end of the day. We had to go to like the office and do it over the intercom or some shit like that. Yeah, yeah. But it was dope. That was my first moment. Then I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna stick with this shit. So I just started doing that, rhyming, battling people on a. Back then we had those big green transformers, the power joints. We used to beat on them joints like all night and just rhyme, go back and forth with each other, and back and forth just rhyming and shit. So that was it. That was it. That was my introduction into rhyming. I got into the beats like shortly after.
What was the creative process early on as far as rhyming? Did you have to have like some type of beat in the background, or was you strictly,
No
without a beat as far
structure
as
at
writing your
all, like
lyrics
just
down?
writing. Like it'd be like 50, 60, 70 bars, just writing. You know what bars was. I'm like, yo, we just write and write and write and write. Then we didn't really know how to split it up. It was just like just going at it. It was just like a long G rap like verse. We just be going, just rhyming and rhyming and rhyming and rhyming. Like it was no kind of structure at all. Then you go to like a studio and they tell you got to split it up, and like you got to figure out where you gonna stop it at, and then like maybe put a hook, or maybe the scratch gonna go in and shit like that. But it was no kind of like no structure to it all. It was just go for it. Just go for it with a notebook. That's it.
Right. You mentioned your crew, family members, as well as imagine outsiders as well. Can you
Yeah,
talk a
like
little bit
first
about that
off,
early
like I gotta
crew?
talk about like my bro like Malik. This dude Malik, man. Like the first time I really got into it, like I really like I said I could really do this. Is like it all starts with Malik. Like that's like my big brother. That's like how like the Wu-Tang Clan got like the RZA, like the Abbott. That was our Abbott. That was everybody's Abbott in the neighborhood. And they just knew everything. I remember the first time I went over his crib, he was playing like a Tribe Called Quest record. He had the floor model. His mom, they had the old ass TV, old floor model TV. He had turntables on top of it. And I remember it was this kid named Lou. Luau was there. Luau looked like, oh, Luau just looked like a fucking android, right? He had these big ass fucking hands, and he was fucking the records all up. And like, but when I came in here and I saw like this record playing, I remember it was the Luck of Lucien. Like when I heard that, and I was like, I had never heard it before, and I was like, oh shit, they taking anything. You can make anything out of this. And then like ever since then, like we was digging. It was him. Then like like my like back then it was like my family, like my ex, like when my ex-wife now, like her brother, like shout out to Devin. He, as a matter of fact, he shot like the When the Wind Blows, the Clarity, those videos and stuff. They moved from Brooklyn to there, and like as soon as we met, we just clicked, and so we had a crew. A couple of them, I taught them how to rhyme. We started our own label, like our own business. We started booking shows. I was like at an early age, I started booking shows for people. Um, we met a crew like in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Like this crew Prophetic. Shout out to my man, my DJ John Doe. You know what I'm saying? He got a show selling Vanguard. All of us came like together, like Atlanta and Charlotte was my like bring my springboards to doing shit. So all those people, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Devin, shout out to Brian, shout out to Patrick, everybody. Like we was running that city. We was killing shit. Like there was some good days. Yo. You see like how hyped I am about it. But yeah, man, like those days, like that was a crew. And we were also learning to make beats and stuff. And we used to book shows. Shout out to Gene Brown. Gene was there. You know what I'm saying? We was booking shows. I was booking shows for Gene back then. It's crazy.
Right. You alluded to getting into production. At what point after you got into rhyming did producing come?
I would say like really like shortly, maybe like a year or two later. Like my grandmother had all these records, right? And like she had these 45s. And I remember I was like, I was listening to them, I was like, oh shit. It was like, I remember it was J with the Damage, it was like the bitches, like that sample. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh, so this is I like so this is how they do it. I mean, I knew it before, but I was like, okay, these are samples. So that's what really made me get into it. So I was just like, my grandmother let me borrow. She's like, you can borrow a couple of records now. You know, take all my records, boosted all them shit. Just take all them records, and like the ones I ain't want, just take them back, whatever. But like going through my pops collection, listening to like the jazz stations late at night, and I was just hearing shit, and I was like, so that's how they doing it. And, that was it. That was it.
Who were some of the earlier artists coming out of North Carolina? I
Mm-hmm.
know you had Little Brother, some other artists. From your point of view, who were some of the earlier
You
architects
had like,
coming
of
out
course,
of
you had Little
North Carolina?
Brother. Then like way before my time, but they was killing it. You had like the Busy Boys. That was Ski. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the original flavor
Original
Ski. Left to
flavor.
go to New York. You had Ski. You had like he gonna kill me for this, but like Gene Brown. Gene used to rhyme. He was making beats back then, and those shits was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like it was Gene. Um, it was like my man Superstition. Shout out to Cam. Cam was doing it. It was like it was so many people because you had Charlotte, but then you had Raleigh and Durham, like the triad. And like you had like Little Brother in the Justice League. You had those brothers killing it too. Then you had like in Winston-Salem, I think you had like Nobodies. And yeah, I remember Super was like he was like rocking with them back then. So it was like that was a crew. There was another crew in Charlotte, the Catskills Project. Shout out to Aja, shout out to Maddox, shout out to DR, shout out to Chantel, all of them. Like they were really dope. That was our competition. But that was our family too, They was dope as shit. So it was a lot of dope crews and a lot of dope people there. Like we were really on everybody had their own style, yo. That's one thing. We was on this shit. And I had a group called the Lost and Found Department with my man Untamed. So, you know, and we was making our own beats and stuff like that. We was like the fucking beat nuts in Charlotte and shit. We was killing that shit.
Right. Anything materialized early on with the early crew as far as music getting
Yeah,
pressed up and
so
passed out?
we had started out on label. It was like Brooklyn Records. It was like 'cause half everybody's from Brooklyn, North Carolina. So we started out on label, and DJ Fisher like reached out to us about putting out music. Now DJ was MF Doom's manager at the time, so he was Doom's manager. So like at that time I was like yeah, we got a couple of things. So we did a 12-inch with DJs, like a Lost and Found Apartment 12-inch. I did like production on both songs. We had a song, it's called Three Treacherous with Superstition. We put that out, and it was dope because it was on Day by Day and Domination. So you had like, what's that group Doom had? Monster Island, Cesars. Yeah, you had them. You had
Czars?
Grim. You had all these other people on the label. And I think like from what I understand, like Doom was like the deciding vote for us being on like the label, which is really cool. I got a chance to thank him like in Atlanta, like a few like at A3C like a few years ago. So it was us, like I think Binkins was on there. Shout out to Jax, Flux, that's my crew. You know what I'm saying? Killer, like everybody in Atlanta. Shout out to everybody in Atlanta in the house. So yeah, but Doom was like a real deciding factor and stuff like in us getting that deal. We did that 112, which ain't do shit else. Yo,
Dope. So at what point, well, first of all, give us a timeline of when this was happening as far as the music
like
getting pressed up and put out.
2002, 2003, around that time. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Damn,
Okay.
don't say
20
don't
years
say
ago.
that. You'll
Okay.
say,
Well, I got to give the people a kind of an
I've
idea
been
how
doing this
long
for a
you've been
long
doing
time,
this.
man.
So,
A long time.
oh,
Yeah, for real.
yeah. So at what point do you transition? Where's the next step? You say you was born and raised in North Carolina. So where did you end up
Then
going
I had to get the fuck
after
out of
this
North
point?
Carolina because I like job opportunities came for me and my wife at the time. So we moved to DC. So, DC was closer to like New York, so I could get back and forth and back. I could go back more. But, at that time, what I'm saying, like it was time to make the move because it's like it was only going to go but so much like that. It was like coming to America. You like either we gonna move to New York or we gonna move to L. I think we was like, are we gonna either we gonna move to Atlanta or we gonna move to DC. It's like spinning the globe, move to DC. Bam, we out. So we were just going.
So what did you witness? What was the transition like from going
It
from
was
North
different
Carolina to
because
DC?
DC's got their own style too. And when I first moved here, I didn't really know nobody. The only person I knew was like my boy, shout to DJ like Two Tone Jones. Like, cause I know Two Tone because he's from Charlotte too, and I went to school with his sister. And I used to see him all the time. I used to see him all the time. He was DJing for like certain people. Like he had already moved here, and so like I started hanging out with him, and and like I would he was like at a radio station, WPFW, and I would just go there and I would just watch and like analyze. I ain't know nobody, so they up there rapping and shit and talking about their city and talking about what goes on there. But I had some kind of knowledge of the artists from the city because like I would hear records like on college radio and shit from like I think it was like Stone Unpredictable, Priest and Nomad, shout out to Priest. I would hear like the low budget shit. It's crazy. Like I came here like to visit one time and I was with Tone. I met like a couple of low budget dudes. They probably don't even remember that shit. Like I met Kev and like Ken and them like way back then. And it was just in passing. And so I came here, like I said, I used to come here, I used to analyze and just watch. And until it was time, it was time for me to like, do the fuck I do. That was it.
Right. At this point, are you forming crew around
Nah,
DC, or are you
like
solo at this
I ain't
point?
gonna front like when I first like moved here and shit, like it's like a tender story. I got divorced and shit, right? And so I ain't fucking like I said, I ain't know nobody in this fucking city. Like I'm here half the fucking time. I ain't know no fucking body. And I'm like, I ain't have my equipment and shit. And then I'm like, one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm single. I went and got all my equipment out of fucking storage. Then I started working on shit. Then I started doing shit. And I started coming out in the city. Then I started meeting this person and that person, and shit just fucking started taking off from there. So that's pretty much it. Hope I answered that fucking question. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you consider your big break when you came to DC?
My big break when I came here. I don't think I had
As
no big
far as
break. I just live here. I think my big break was like I don't know. No, I take it back. My big break when people start like, okay, like I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Is like when I opened up. I did a little string of shows with Main Source when they came back out, and
oh,
already knowing Large,
yeah, yeah.
and like I remember Tone told me he's like, yo, I'm doing this show with Main Source. I don't give a fuck. I want in. Large vouch for me, and so that when I did that show, I think that's motherfuckers realize like, okay, this nigga is real because I remember shout out Bobito Garcia. Bob opened up like Bob introduced me, brought me out to the stage. I had friends from like Charlotte come to see me, like peace to the God. You know what I'm saying? My man A King, he came, I had a bunch of people come to see me, and it was like the show was like packed. Hit the stage, I did all my shit, and then like that's when I knew it because I looked to the side of the stage and I saw Bob and I saw Large and I saw Doo-Wop like all just nodding like in sync. And I was like, oh fuck, I got this shit. I got this shit. And then there was that, and the weekend before that, Flex played my shit. So I knew I was doing some shit right. So I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. This is it. This is it right here. Yeah. So that was it. That was it. That was my. I think that was my breakthrough. Now I ain't fucking never here.